Hey there, Dave Gardner here, and in this video I'm going to share with you how you can rank up with LiveGood. And there's a couple different ways that you can do that, so I'm going to go through that. And a lot of that stems from a picture that I had sent to me on someone through WhatsApp. They have been asking me a ton of questions. Haven't really pulled the trigger yet, but perhaps they're going to be looking to join anytime soon. And again, if you do have questions about LiveGood, feel free to leave them here below this video. You can email me at DaveGardner@theDaveGardner.com. Always ready and willing to answer any questions related to LiveGood. Now, I may not have all the answers. I do have a lot of the answers because I have done a lot of due diligence and research into the company. Now, it just happens to be I'm actually a current gold member. I'll show you that in a minute. And so I'm going to come back to this, but inside the member area, you can actually look at your rank, you can look at your earnings, you can see who your affiliates are, who your referrals are, you can see who your team is, so on and so forth. And so there's a couple things that you need to be able to obviously rank up, and the first thing obviously is to start to sponsor people. Now, I know you may have seen something somewhere that people have posted that you could potentially earn, up to $2,000 and $2,047 and 50 cents a month. But I just want to throw a disclaimer out there. Your team, you would have to have every single position filled in your matrix, and there would have to be 8,000 people below you. So if you think about that, that means the person up above you would have to have two legs completely filling in your 8,000 and all their 8,000. So that's a lot of people sponsoring. And it's really going to be hard for someone to sponsor 16,000 people in a very short period of time. And some people come in at, a month or two and they realize that they don't have any what's called spillover yet. And they think that the system doesn't work. Well, the system actually does work. And so it works, like they say, it works if you work it. And so if you go out there and if you're actively talking about people, actively telling people about the program and the savings they can have with the high quality products that LiveGood offers, they're going to check out that membership and you'll start to sponsor people without even really having to put more effort or much effort into it, and you'll start to do this over time. Now, I'm not saying you're going to go out and sponsor a ton of people all at once, but maybe you start to sponsor one or two people a month, and over time that continues to grow as long as you have a refusal to quit. And so I want to go through the other page. If you click back and forth, there's a couple ways you can go through this. If you go down to your earnings, for example, your earnings, if you click on the earnings, you will see what you've earned. LiveGood has paid me every single week. Again, another disclaimer, because I actually am actively recruiting, I sponsor people, and so not only do I get the direct commissions, but I also get the matching bonus. And I want to briefly just point out things are really starting to ramp up because I've stayed consistent and I've continued to build a team. I've noticed a really ramp up increase in my monthly residuals, which is from matching. I'm matching on many, many checks down many, many generations. And so, for example, if we just go back to July, I was making $36 as bonuses per month for the whole month. If we go into the August monthly, notice that about doubled to 75 or 76. We go to the September one, 180. So again, it pays to be able to go through and sponsor people. If you want to be able to rank up, you need to be able to sponsor people. And if you also want to be able to make a lot more money, there's a lot more money in that monthly commission. Now, these weekly ones are ones because I've sponsored people throughout the week, and or people that I sponsored also sponsored people. Now, I actually haven't sponsored anyone personally in these last 2 weeks, and yet I still made almost $80 because my team below me is sponsoring people. I've been, working on some other things. I'm a full-time high school chemistry teacher, and so obviously part of my time, or a lot of my time, is focused on that. I spend the evenings and sometimes on the weekends trying to live my own good life as well, but also starting to build and continuing to build the business on the side. And so my goal is to continue to rank up. My goal is eventually to be a diamond, and I would love to be a crown diamond as well. And so right now I've made it to gold. So I'm at the third level. So obviously you start out by ranking up to bronze. Bronze is going to give you basically a double option to increase your income. And so if you scroll down to the bottom of the ranking, or where you go to commissions, like I mentioned, if you go to earn my earnings on the side, and then you can click view rank. So depending on if you sponsor people or not, you may have seen some commissions, maybe you haven't. So then you can view your active rank. And this shows you 3 different ways in which you can actually rank up to the next one. So notice for me to personally rank up to platinum, I have 36 that I've personally sponsored out of 100. You need to have 100 personally sponsored people to be platinum, but that's not the only way you can become platinum. I could also become platinum if I have a team of up to 500. So even though I'm less than halfway there here, I'm almost halfway here for the whole team. Or another way is I could have legs. If I sponsored 3 different people and those people each became gold, that would put me up into the availability of becoming a platinum member. And there's some other restrictions that go along with this. So that's where that diagram came from. But if you scroll down, depending on how many people you have on your team, if you click on the link that says click here for details on rank advancement, it will give you the alternatives. Now, bronze is pretty straightforward. You have to have sponsored some people, okay? You have to sponsor people in order to rank up. I believe if you don't ever sponsor anyone, you won't be able to meet any of these, even though some of the wording is looking a little bit different. Obviously, put in a support ticket just to verify. So, for example, to become a silver member, you have to have at least 10 personally enrolled members in a total team of 20, or you have 3 separate, notice it says enroller tree legs. This is the key thing. An enroller tree leg means that you physically enrolled those people. So if you have, and let's say you have a total team of 20, let's say you only sponsored 3 people. Now, in your back members area, if you go to the link that says my team, and we'll click on this and open this up just to show you. But where it says my team, obviously it's set up in a 2x2 matrix. So it just keeps going by 2 by 2 by 2. So for example, my first level has 2 people in it, and then that splits into 2, and then each one of those splits in. There's 2 there, there's 2 there, there's 2 there, there's 2 there. And it just keeps splitting and splitting and splitting. But in reality, you have an unlimited number of people that you can enroll that would all be really on your top line. That would become your first level or your real enroller tree. You could have people in your enroller tree that are on your first line that are on your first level, your second level, third level, fourth level, fifth level, however many levels down. So if you notice this, if you look down at the bottom of the screen here, notice the enroller over here. This person is on my first level. I sponsored them. This person's on my second level. I sponsored them. This person's on my third level. I sponsored them. I'm actually filling people on my 5th level at this point. And some of the major leaders are actually into their 8th or 9th level. And so it's going to take a lot longer for them to help you with spillover if you were to join them, because they have to fill even more. By the time you get to 8, 9, 10 levels deep, you're talking, another 100 or 1,000 people, I should say, that they need to sponsor just to fill that row. And then it's going to be, 2,000 people, then it's 4,000 people, then it's, 8,000 people to fill each consecutive row once it gets so many rows deep. And so it doesn't matter where the people are, you can still earn generational matches off that. But again, going back to that concept, if you had only sponsored 3 people, so let's say they are 3 people and just let's put them in a line. So, person 1, person 2, person 3, you sponsored all of them. And then let's say they each became bronze. So they each sponsored 2. So you had the 3 people you sponsored, they each sponsored 2. That's a total of 6. So 6 and 3 is 9. That could actually rank you up to silver, even though you don't have enough. But notice you have to have 20. Even though you didn't sponsor 10, your team is starting to grow. So let's say a couple of those people took off and maybe they each sponsored 3 or 4 people. Let's say all of a sudden your numbers go to 20, but you've only sponsored 3 people. If 3 of those people are going to be bronze, you have the ability to rank up based on that option. So on that previous page, we saw a couple different options where there's a couple different bars to match up to. There's different ways that you can qualify for that ranking. It's not just a one-time thing that is, set in stone. There's different ways you can do this. And so the next one, which is what I fell under, okay, this is how I fell under, have a 30-member team that you've personally enrolled, plus a total of 100 active members. Okay, that's the main way. Okay, you have 30 personals and 100. Now, a couple months ago, I was at about 34, 35 people, and I had about 68 total team. And then I sponsored someone who really, really was a good worker and has really gotten down and has really started to build his team as well. And quickly I went over that 100, so I was able to rank up to gold. And so sometimes you don't ever know who might end up on a team below you. And if you don't have that ability where you are not their enroller, then you might have a massive, massive team, but if you didn't physically enroll them, you might not be able to rank up. So keep that in mind. Notice the second option says 3 separate enroller tree legs with a silver. So again, I would have to personally sponsor 3 people that had a silver. And at this time, I didn't have any, I only had 1 that made it to silver, but then because my total team went over 100, I was able to rank up. So if we go back and take a look at that picture that the guy sent me through WhatsApp, notice there's 3 ways to achieve gold, and this is highlighted and circled not for any reason of my own. It was the picture he found and sent to me. I'm not really sure where he found it, but notice 3 ways to get gold. You have a total of 30 direct people that you've enrolled, so these would all be your like enroller tree or your first line or on your first level, and then a total team of 100. So this could mean that maybe you sponsored 100 yourself, or it could be that some of them started to duplicate. And let's say, every person that you sponsored also sponsored 3 to 4 other people. Then you'd have a lot of bronzes, of course, that were in there, but you'd also have a lot of members, and you'd have about 100 people if all 30 sponsored 3 to 4 people. So that would be one way you could do it. The other way is you have 3 silvers, okay? So if 3 people were silvers where they each had a team of 10 and a total of, whatever the silver was. Again, if we go back and look at silver, wrong side there for a second, notice for silver they had to have 20. So you could have this combination of, let's say you had, 3 different people somewhere on your front line, they had 20, and someone else had 20. There's 60 people right there, and then maybe there's another mix with other things because the whole thing has to be 100. Now, notice the other option. Obviously, you had to have had a previous rank as well. But notice, let's say you had sponsored 4 people and they each started to build, or there just was large groups that started to build. You can't have more than 30. So if we go back, notice it says, so we looked at the first one, 30 personals plus a total of 100 active members. That's how I qualified originally as a gold. The other option, you can have 3 separate enrollers or enroller legs. Again, enroller tree leg is one that you've personally sponsored that have a silver rank, again, plus a team of 100. Or you could have 100 active members in your enroller team. Notice though that it says no more than 30 are from an individual leg. So let's say, for example, you started a sponsor and you all of a sudden had all these legs that were starting to build and other people below you were building. You might not have personally sponsored them, but they might have taken off. And let's say, person A has a team of, 20 and person B is a team of, 30 and another 30 and another 30. Each of those would add up to well over 100. And as long as no one of them is all of the work, you have spread it out to more people, you have the ability to qualify for gold. And so the key again is to be able to sponsor those people, because if you're sponsoring those people that are building those teams as well, not only are you earning on the team growth, but you're also going to be earning on those matching matrix bonuses at the end of every month, because you would be matching what they make in addition to what you make on the whole size of the team. So you want to make sure that you're sponsoring people and not just relying on other people to come in or be placed under you and waiting for spillover. Be a spillover creator, as they say, not a spillover maker or taker, I should say, or waiter. So be a spillover creator, not waiter. That's what they say sometimes. But my point being though is you may have 4 people that were randomly placed underneath you, and let's say they all started to grow. You could rank up again. Obviously, you have to, I believe, have that first rank of bronze in order to do that, possibly even silver. And so if we scroll down, the same thing holds true to become platinum. So right now, again, I am gold and I'm working towards achieving platinum. So if we go and look at the platinum options, you have to have 100 personals plus a team of 500. Or you could have 3 separate enroller legs with the gold, so I have to have 3 golds underneath me. Right now I have 1 gold underneath me and a total of 500, or 500 active members with no more than 150 coming from 1 leg. So where my predicament is, in my predicament, I have, for example, if we look at my matrix, notice I have, basically this means I have 36 enroller trees. Okay, that's me. Every person you sponsor, it becomes a new enroller tree. And if you look at one of my top people, they came in and they sponsored one person. That one person has sponsored basically 188. They sponsored the other group. And so there's a huge amount. So right now, there's more than 150 coming from 1 leg. So if they didn't sponsor any more, but I eventually continued to build up, and like right now, again, I'm at 249, some from my efforts and a lot from their efforts, I would eventually get there, but I might have to sponsor more. And obviously my goal is to sponsor more, and hopefully some of the people on my team will start to take off and be able to build their teams as well. And so if I were to have a couple legs that were gold, then I could qualify. So notice again, I might have 3 legs that qualify, and maybe, maybe one person has 100 here, another has 100 here, another has 100 here, and then maybe, 50 here, 50 here, 50 here, 30 here, 30 here. Then maybe we have someone that has 150, but as long as I have an excessive number, then hopefully those numbers will be achieved. And so again, as long as no one leg is over 150 that would get you to that point of 500, then you're good. Now, obviously, if all of your numbers build up, then it should hold true that you have the ability to do this, because likely you would have met either one of these others. And so all of these options really have multiple ways in which you can rank up. And so the last one, to become a diamond, we'll try to zoom in on here. Same thing with the diamond. You have multiple ways to become a diamond. You'd have to have 3 platinums underneath you, plus a total of 2,500 members in your team. That's the basically straightforward one. Notice the other option is also 2,500 active in your enroller, with no more than 500 coming from 1 leg. So, for example, if we look at this, I could have 3 platinums underneath me, and I have to, and I apologize, this is again an image, so that was blocked, but that says 2,500 there. So in order for me to become diamond, I have to have 3 other platinums that I've sponsored underneath me, or platinum members that are underneath me. And then all of a sudden also, because notice again, it says platinum ranked affiliates in my enroller tree legs. Okay, they have to be people that I sponsored that got to platinum. One of the things that I noticed is that one of our major leaders has, I believe he has about 80,000 people in his matrix. But some of those people, he may have a really, really big side that is taken off, and he may have a smaller side. So for example, when we go back to that first look, or where we were here, if you go left and right, maybe he sponsored, equally left and right, and then someone on the right side just totally took off and his teams exploded. So he might have, for example, 75,000 on one side that has a platinum that he sponsored, and maybe even a diamond that he sponsored, and maybe on the left side there's only bronzes and gold. So I'm not really sure what the scenario is there, but there are ways that you could actually go and have bigger teams. But if you have someone that is sponsored and really exploded your team, that could possibly prevent you from reaching that top rank. Now, in some of the posts that he's mentioned, he's not even worried about it, because he does have, I believe, over 300 people he has personally sponsored, and he is matching. That means 300 times. He is getting 300 matching checks on the first level, and he's also earning additional bonus matching checks on, for example, generation. So maybe the 2nd generation level, 3rd generation level on silver, gold, and platinum. And so he is making, I believe, over $10,000 a month so far with LiveGood, and because he has this very massive team. The whole point, though, is, like I'm saying, there are different ways in which you can rank up, okay? It may look a little confusing. What you really need to focus on is just continuing to build that team and let things happen. If you continue to build and grow and not really focus on most of the minutia and the small little details and, stressing out about getting to that next rank, then things will start to fall into place for you. Obviously, like I said, it takes action and it takes effort for you to continue to build that team. And we would love to have you join us in LiveGood and get to that next rank and continue to rank up with us. And so if you have any questions or comments, like I said, list them below. I'd be glad to help you out. You can email me at DaveGardner@DaveGardner.com. Again, that's DaveGardner@DaveGardner.com if you do have any questions, or leave them right here. As always, I would love to have you join my team, and I'll share anything else that I have with you with the training resources, and we can hook you up with some other marketing systems and funnels that we also use to help build our list at the same time as we're building our LiveGood team. So hopefully you've found some benefit, or hopefully this has clarified a little bit in the concept that there's different ways to build your team and build your rank. And again, if you have any questions, I am here to help. Take care. Thanks.